The Nigeria Police Force is facing an uphill task of rebuilding public trust and contain insecurity in many parts of the country. Many feel that the security outfit is not just overwhelmed by the high level of crime, but also many of its personnel lack capacity and the right attitude to police a complex nation like Nigeria with high degree of diversity in human and natural resources. There have been advocacies for reforms that will reposition the Nigerian police force, but the debate has always been the type of reforms that will work. On the spot, we'll engage someone who has seen and has been involved in a lot of policing and policy formation in the country. Stay with us for insight. I am Joseph Otan. Welcome to the program. Now, my guest is someone who is renowned for his meritorious service in Nigeria Police Force and maintaining security in the country, a graduate of political science and law. He also has 2 master's degrees in law, specializing in corporate management and finance law, and the second in strategic studies. He strived higher to acquire a Doctor of Philosophy in Public Law. My guest is a fellow of the Nigerian Defense College and fellow Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. He served the Nigerian Police Force in different capacities, surging through the ranks to the pinnacle. He was a principal staff officer to a record 3 different inspectors general of police between 2002 and 2008. And he also served as the Commissioner of Police, Akwa Ibom State Police Command. As an Assistant Inspector General of Police, he headed the Force Intelligence Bureau, where he undertook landmark reforms and restructuring initiatives. He has contributed a lot in strengthening policing in Nigeria and around the world, serving as the Secretary to the Presidential Committee on Nigeria Police Reform and member of Nigeria Police Committee on Reform of the Nigerian Constitution and Police Act. After retiring from the police force, he dedicated time to legal practice and security consultancy with organizations such as the Office of the National Security Advisor, the European Center for Electoral Support, and the Human Rights Center at the University of Oslo, as well as member Committee on Prevention of Torture, Geneva, Switzerland. On the spot is former Inspector General of Police and current Chairman, Nigeria Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Well, good to have you.
Thank you.
Let me start first with you made us know that you'll be appointing personnel and promoting more than 1,800 senior officers. This idea came, is it as a result of the security challenges in the country, or is it just to bridge up that shortfall in the police force?
Well, the recruitment is meant to increase the numeric strength of the police force that we currently have. The promotion is something that is, you do as a matter of, when you are entitled to be promoted. Once the Inspector General of Police, takes a look at this manpower profile, there are some criteria. They are supposed to stay in one particular rank for some specific number of years. They are supposed to have their uppers. They are supposed to score some points in that upper, then good conduct. So when they have done that, they recommend them to the Police Service Commission. And the Police Service Commission will take a look at it and see whether it is in consonance with what we already have in our system. and that they don't have any pending disciplinary matters, either, human rights, issues or that type of a thing. And once it is decided that they don't have these things, they are promoted. You are alluding to the security challenges that we have. Yeah, there's no country that does not have its own challenges. The only thing is that, the capacity for you to either prevent it or you have the capacity to detect it when they happen. And in your introductory statement too, you also alluded that, yes, the police is suffering from a lot of, capacity issue, which is true. And that is one of the areas where we are trying to see how we can assist them, to get the right caliber of people to come into the force. Coming into the force is one thing. Giving them the right type of training is another. So you have to give them some purpose, some training that is fitted to what they are supposed to do. The manpower profile of an organization like the Nigerian Police Force is not sufficient to deal with issues of internal security management. I think we have reached a stage now where we start thinking about, introducing technology. That is what is obtainable everywhere in the world, where you have cameras, deployed in some strategic places. Though if the crime has been committed and you couldn't prevent it, what you have to do is to maybe do a playback. Most crimes are outside our jurisdiction, like the Boston bombing, the London bombings. Those ones, they were not prevented by physical security. It was electronic technology. So I think that is where the country should be thinking.
Why have we been driving this fit towards this technology? Because it's obvious when you see the security ensures sometimes when some crimes happen and you look at and they're giving analysis of what happened, they saw who committed the crime when he walked in, and you just begin, you get marveled.
Yeah.
So we know this has been there for years. Why are we just dragging our feet towards this?
In 2007, 2008, there was a project with the Chinese government, where the government went into a joint venture with them to say this camera should be deployed in Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. There were supposed to be some sample areas. And the deployment actually took place. But you see, I think the issue we have with our internal security management is sustainability. You see, if each government, that comes on board sustains what, had been there, or, you put something on top, then you'll be able to, deal with these issues. But along the line, most of those cameras were vandalized. Because even the concession was not properly thought out. They were such that people could easily access them. So they started removing the batteries first. From the batteries, later the cameras were too short. So it did not meet the international, best standard of installing cameras. Then again, they came up and said, you see, because of our energy crisis.
But these standards are somewhere that we see. So
we see.
How come we
let me just give
the ones that are not?
Let me just give you a small example. They were now saying that, because we have this erratic power supplies, you need power to generate those things at all times, the cameras, for them to work. So the company that came in to install it, they said they were going to, test run it for some time, and they were buying diesel. So it got to a time when they said, oh no, we are not going to do that anymore. The government must come in this time and, complement what we are doing. So there was this series of meetings that happened, and eventually I think they pulled out. But I think that is the way we should go. And you see, to complement that, to complement the government initiative, I think we start encouraging private partnership in dealing with issues of internal security management. I will give you the reason why. You see, you cannot build a shopping complex without you installing cameras in it. You cannot build a housing estate without you installing cameras in it. That one is supposed to complement, you know, the government effort in making sure that the space is properly policed. You know, there are two critical things when you are talking about internal security management. You are talking about dominance of the security space. Then you are talking about visibility. The visibility is the physical that we always talk about. When you go, you see, you know, policing presence all over the place. Dominance of the security spaces, when you are able to cover, you know, those places, you know, when you have been able to assess, when you say there's trends and patterns of crime. When there's trends and patterns of crime, then you're already crime mapping the state. So a good security manager now will come into Abuja and say, okay, I'm the commissioner of police in Abuja. What is the first thing you're supposed to do? You're supposed to crime map Abuja. You know, where are those areas where the trends and patterns of crime are such that it's able to create palpable fear? The typologies of crime that happens in Metama, Asokoro, is different from Nyanya and Maraba. So you see, so when you are able to do that, then it means that your man material, you know, deployments must be properly aligned, you know, to fit, you know, that crime mapping that you have done.
Okay, you are heading the Police Service Commission now.
Yeah.
This is where, before you were heading the police force. Now you are where policies are made. You're where reforms were suggested. What reforms are you suggesting, given this situation we have around the country now? What do we have on the table?
The Police Service Commission is more like a human resource department. You know, you recruit, you discipline, you promote, then you come up with policy, you know, direction. It is the IG who is in the operation, who is the operational commander of the force, as it were. So yes, sometimes we meet them at the intellectual plane, yes, you know, and we try to articulate issues. We try to suggest ways, you know, but it's left to him. It's not duty bound to take those suggestions. Ours is just to make sure that there are alternatives. If this one happens, this is likely to be the consequence. If this one does not happen, this is likely to be the consequence. But lucky enough, the IG, he listens, and we've been trying to engage him to say that maybe our policing strategies has to change, you know. As a former IG, I was very, very interested in intelligence driving policing. So that is why I spent most of my time developing technical platforms to say, if, for example, a kidnap happens in Buhari or the airport road, if you use your phone to try to demand for ransom, there are technologies to track you, to show that, you know, where you are and they catch you. You know, so I think those are the things we should start emphasizing. You see, when, as I said, you know, issues of crime are not, even advanced countries, they are still scared of, you know, crime happening in their various domains. But you see, the idea is that it is not that crime will not happen. It is that there are consequences. When crime happens, that there are consequences. Because if there are no consequences, you know, arrest, prosecution, the judicial system, then it means that, you know, you are saying a Hobbesian state is being created, so might is becoming rights. So people can just go kidnap people, you know, stay 2, 3, 4 weeks, you know, bargaining for ransom, and later they collect the ransom. They are not arrested. They are not prosecuted. You know, it is.
But that seems what is going on in the country right now.
That is the one that is worrisome. That is the one we have to work on, and that's why I'm talking about the technical platform. And when I asked, you know, the other time, they said the technical platform that we set up, you see, it's just like using a mobile phone. You have to buy credit also for it to work sometimes. And they have been having issues with paying for the subscription, the yearly subscription, which shouldn't have happened. All these are supposed to be things that they should, to go into the budgetary, system. But I think we should. That is the way we should go. We should start deploying more technology, intelligence, and community partnership. You mentioned something like of trust just now. That is.
And we'll come back to that. We'll take a break now. There's still a lot to talk, especially in terms of capacity of the policing and then the community trust. But we'll take a break. When we come back, then we'll now take a look at these issues. Welcome back to On the Spot with Chairman, Nigerian Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase. If you remember the video some police officers not long ago were dismissed from the service when they were trying to get some things from a foreign woman, and there are so many out there. Attitude of the Nigerian police force, and probably that's what is affecting the public trust. Are you concerned about this?
Oh, of course, it's a source of concern. You see, when a law enforcement organization loses, that connect with the citizens, either through human rights abuses, issues of corruption, then the information that is supposed to flow, that can be converted into intelligence by the law enforcement officers, is totally lost. So that is an area where I think the reputational damage to the law enforcement officers has to be quickly mitigated if they are going to have that public support and public trust. If you look at the origin of policing in this country, you will see that it was set up by the colonial masters to put fear into the people who were the indigents, and take their lands, exploit their resources, and those sort of a thing. So you would think that after we had gained independence, that there is supposed to be a paradigm shift in our policing philosophy. There is a social content to policing. A Nigerian will want to see a police force where children close from school, you see a policewoman trying to assist them to cross the road, or an old woman trying to assist an old woman or an old man to cross the road. You see the type of...
And that's where the foreign, maybe in the Western country, where
so
the public confidence, trust,
so
love,
we must build
appreciation of the police man there.
So all these are things we have to build into our curriculum. Anger management. So it means that the training package we have has to change. You start identifying what they do in those days. What they do in most of those areas is that when senior officers retire in other jurisdiction, what they do is that they go back, either to the universities, research faculties, to start using their experiential knowledge to put together literature that they will use for training program in most of the schools. The capacity is, at the rate at which we are losing capacity in the Nigerian police force is alarming. And that is one of the reasons why sometimes last year, April last year, when I resumed as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, the first thing I did was to convoke, a meeting of retired officers. And I told them pointedly, I said, you see, the idea is that this police force, this is what has given us that national and international visibility that we have now that we are retired. Now, a lot of you are still young. You are retired, 35 years or 60, whichever comes first. That is supposed to be the period where you should start thinking about giving back to the system. How do you give back? Why can't we assist them in their training institutions? So after we have done this recruitment now, we now say, okay, those of you who are in Kaduna, where we are going to train some of them in the police college in Kaduna, those of you who are domiciled in that area, tell us, what can you impact? Is it criminal law? Is it evidence? Is it sociology? All these are skills that you have already acquired. So you can, easily impact it. And for young recruits who are coming to the colleges, seeing somebody who has retired some years back, standing before them in a class to share, knowledge, it could be very, very profound. It could be very, very insightful. One, it is not only the academic, assets he's putting on the table. He's also putting on the table his professional knowledge, his experiential, knowledge. So it's a whole package, And luckily, they've all agreed that they will have to give back, to the system.
Okay, let me cut you off on this this training thing. If for many who have worked with police officers around them, you find out that the attitude sometimes of the senior officers is different from that of the junior cadre. And most of this attitude thing we are talking about, you find out someone that is a junior cadre. So perhaps some people have to say that your training are either focusing on senior cadre or those who are graduates, not the recruits. You find out some of the recruits, you find person where someone will go come on duty, he's so drunk. I've worked with police officers where they're reporting to duty, they're already drunk. But sometimes when you see maybe the graduate or the senior officer, he comes, you see gentle behaves, you see you even admire a person. So you are responsible for training them. Why is that kind of for many Nigerians who feel that there's kind of a discrimination against the junior cadre?
No. There's no discrimination.
So why that's a change in attitude?
Yes, it's just that when you bring in somebody who has gone through a university education, his perspective about everything, interpersonal relationship, anger management, how do you deal with, issues and circumstances, issues that you encounter, they're quite different. But I think the problem we've had through the years is that our recruitment process has been faulty. So we should take a look again. Who are you bringing in to the system? It's commonsensical that if you bring in somebody who does not have a small modicum of knowledge or intelligence, how do you train them? How do you impact them? That is one. So our training, our recruitment process has to change. We have to, there is no, this for the 774 local governments we have in this country, you can always get the best.
Okay, we are pressed for time, so we'll have to stop here.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Chairman, Nigerian Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase, for being on the spot.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
It's all right. Okay, thank you out there too for watching. I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.